What's up, everybody? It's Keefe, and you're watching another edition of GhostCultMag.com's Weekly Ritual, our weekly rock and metal news live stream. Not so live right now, but it's our weekly live stream here on the web, usually everywhere you can watch a live stream and more. Fun fact, I'm on some new meds. May the 4th be with you this weekend, ergo the Yoda hat. I'm on some new meds for sleep. And I'm very low energy, and I'm like sleeping even a little more oddly than I normally am. So what I decided to do this week is just record this and upload it like a regular video, any of other regular videos on YouTube and other places on social media. Then I'll share the video so everyone can watch it. Still feel free to support us. We appreciate it. Next week, I'll be back, hopefully, with a few more days of normal sleep hour-ish stuff together, and I'll be able to do this like a regular live stream and be interactive, which is what I prefer. But I was feeling kind of low energy, and I was like, I don't know if I don't want to not do the show, but I can't do the show to my fullest. So rather than give you less of me, I'm giving you a different less of me. That makes sense? I hope it does. In case you're new here, and you might be, GhostCultMag.com for almost 13 years has been your 24/7, 365 resource for rock and metal news, interviews with some of the most important bands in the world and a bunch of underground bands, metal and rock concerts and festivals, and so much more. Geek culture and everything, ergo Star Wars stuff this weekend for May the 4th on Sunday. So without further ado, and since I don't have an audience to talk to, we're going to just bring in the deck and do the goddamn thing. Here's me with a lightsaber, and you'll see this lightsaber image come up again. We got some fun stuff for you, new music out this week, fun stuff in our mailbag, and all kinds of other things to jam on. Feel free to drop a comment. I'm going to attempt to be live in the comments when this goes up in the morning, so hopefully I can interact with you there. So let's get into it with the deck, and of course, we always start with the announcements. And again, just a reminder, I'll kill the GhostCultMag.com, where you can find us all the time, ticker for a moment, just to put in the comments for a second, in case you want to support us. I'm greatly appreciative if you do. Here is our, just a reminder, here's our tip menu. I'll blow it up so you can see it. Again, can't do the comments like usual. Let's do the thing. Hey, if you want to support us generally, you can tip us $3. You can buy us a coffee at Ko-fi for $6. You can be a real one. Everybody has heard me talk about the real ones, the GhostCultMag.com real ones, for $25. When we do this as a live stream, especially y'all on TikTok, and not TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, etc., Instagram, if you want us to rate one of your songs, you can tip us $10 and I'll put it up in the comments, listen to it with everyone at the same time and review it. And also, I do music business consulting for both social media and release planning and everything associated with having a band and putting out music, which it seems like a lot of our audience is. And you can book me for a $75 call, and I'd be happy to help you. I got some bookings last week that were really nifty, and here's where you can pay us. Here's our Cash App if you're watching, but also we take, again, PayPal, Ko-fi, Venmo. Find us at all the things. I appreciate it. Find us at all the things. Okay, so back to the lecture at hand. Today is Bandcamp Friday. And I just want to remind everybody, even though there's other alternatives to Bandcamp now, like Ampwall, which we really love and support, I really want to get together and talk to the founder of Ampwall and do an extensive interview with him and a deep dive on that site. Bandcamp is still useful. Today is one of those Bandcamp Fridays where they waive all their fees and the band gets all the money. So if you have a release on Bandcamp, if you have friends you love to support, drop a comment here on YouTube, drop a comment on all our socials. There'll be posts about Bandcamp Friday, and you can help support your friends or maybe yourself. Just a reminder, I'm hosting Karaoke Sundays here in San Francisco at the Willows in West Soma, right near the Mission District. This weekend, we're doing a special Star Wars edition of Karaoke Sundays with a costume contest and prizes and some free drink specials. So that's at the Willows on Folsom Street here. Hang out with me from 7 to 10 or whenever. Keep the drinks flowing. Keep your heads ringing. That's what we do when I host the karaoke. and maybe some Star Wars themed karaoke. Also, reminder: our album of the month for March, was Spirit Box's Tsunami Sea, out now on Pale Chord / Rise Records. We'll be voting on the April albums of the month coming up this weekend. Our team will vote on it, and then you'll find out about it next week, and we'll be bragging and promoting that record next week. So many bangers that came out in April. It's kind of crazy. Just a reminder, today is the 12th anniversary of the passing of Jeff Hanneman from liver failure. Still a real big tragedy. One of the worst losses in the music and metal community ever. Jeff was a true original. He is the architect, arguably, of some of the best Slayer riffs ever. And I'm just deeply saddened that he's gone such a long time. But every year we pay tribute to him. We want to remember Jeff as he lived and as he made music and made all our lives better. I'm still kind of in shock that Slayer came back, but nobody has ever really gone, as Luke Skywalker said in The Rise of Skywalker. This is crazy. Brian Montana, one of the original guitarists of Possessed, died in a gunfight with the cops in South San Francisco. It's just like right south of where I live. He was upset about something about his neighbor, some altercation, and he had fired some shots into his neighbor's house, and then the cops rolled in and he fired off some shots at them and they killed him. Just terrible. I don't know what people are going through. I've often said we need to prioritize mental health in this country. This is some crazy shit, and I'm deeply sad about it. But rest in peace, Brian Montana, and I'm deeply sorry for his family and any friends. Once again, we're still trying to raise awareness for our friend Lisa Mann. She is a masterful blues artist, an incredible metal singer, shredding bass wizard. From her own solo work as Lisa Mann, her metal bands, White Crone and Splintered Throne from the Pacific Northwest. She had a terrible leg injury. She's got a long rehab ahead of her. She's a working musician. It's going to take a long time to get back on her feet, literally and actually. So please, we'll link everything in the description. You can go stream her music, find her where her music is at on her website. Maybe stream something, follow her socials, buy something, share it yourself if you like any of those genres, blues or heavy metal, and help support our friend. And also, once again, we're still trying to get our favorite metal-loving pooch in San Francisco, Django Sainthood from the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. Here's Django with Necro Butcher of Mayhem. They were on their way to kill Euronymous. They should have been on the way to kill Varg, but we are doing a change.org petition to help Django get sainthood because Django's a booster and we like to have fun. Django here in this picture with Necro Butcher is wearing his battle vest. I love this dog a great deal. And here's the petition. You don't have to donate any money. It's just for funsies. And, you can take the next step. But you don't have to donate money. You can help with signatures or share it. Also, just a reminder, my band Angst has a predecessor band, Angst 642. There's a new single out right now, Judge and the Jury. An EP is still forthcoming. We are also helping promote another fine chamois label artist, Whipworm, whose black and death metal album Death Beyond is coming out in June. I'm still pumped about this, extremely pumped. And we will share more about that then. And also, my band is plugging away. We wrote another new song last weekend. We worked on some covers. We got some more stuff in the chamber coming soon. Now it's time for some features. I will put me back in. Hey, it's me. I still got the Yoda mask on. Hey, I don't know. These ears are fun. Music, Yoda. My father used to do an incredible Yoda imitation. He loved Star Wars. He took me to see Star Wars when it was fresh in the movies when I was 4 years old at the old RKO Theater on Fordham Road in the Bronx. Cheers. I got a liquid death here. So it's time for some features. Here's what's going on here at Ghost Cult this week. And, we don't really stop. We don't take a break. We don't do breaks. I work at this pretty much all the time when I'm not working my regular gig as a social media expert. It's an expensive hobby. We do make some money here, but not a lot. That's why I asked for some tips at the beginning of the show. It's why I ask for tips when I host karaoke. These student loans and these bills won't pay themselves. But yeah, I just wanted to highlight some stuff going on here at the site this week. And first and foremost, let's I'll put the banner back in because I'm not doing any comments or anything. I hope I said this correctly. Salesianos from Australia premiered a new video with Ghost Cult this week. We did a few video premieres in the last week, but Salesianos dropped a new single and lyric video for The Great Silence. They have a guest vocalist, Derek Henry Ellis. You probably know him from many metal bands that he's been in. We also did a premiere this week for Kurt Deimer, who's an up-and-coming rocker and horror movie producer and actor. He was in Halloween in 2018 from Rob Zombie, the Halloween comeback, and also Spider Rockets. So a lot of stuff going on here at the site. We're still trying to support and uplift both mainstream and underground artists at all time. That was a little flash. Here's Spider Rockets again from last week. Oni, new interviews this week at the website. Jake Oni of Oni has put out his brand new EP Genesis, out now everywhere you can stream and buy things from his site. And Jake's awesome. We did one of our very first in-person interviews with Jake way back in 2017 at Irving Plaza. And Jake was fantastic then. He's fantastic now. It was kind of a progressive metal band at the beginning. It's more like a metalcore, progressive metal band now. But Jake is really smart and cool. And it was a really fun chat with him from his home compound. And he's just so talented. It's really cool to see an artist grow over more than half of Ghost Cult's existence that we followed him. So it's pretty cool. Also this week, Root Brain, my interview with Root Brain, kind of a low-key super group of dudes from bands like Triptychon and other bands in Eastern Europe. And they've got more of like a metal, thrash, blackened post-grunge sound. It's kind of hard to put a finger on it, but they're out on one of our favorite labels, Corpse Paint Records. You've probably seen the photo of me on social media with Andrew, the owner of Corpse Paint Records. We bumped into each other in Las Vegas recently at the Danzig and Down show. And Root Brain is a really cool band, and I was really glad to get this interview with them. You can check this out on our YouTube. But for the full video, just a reminder, we've got a bunch of other interviews, Shaman's Harvest, Guiltless, Alien Weaponry, so much cool stuff going on here at the site, and many more cool interviews to come soon. I'm really pumped. We interviewed Wednesday 13 recently, and we'll talk about this again in a few minutes, but also it was really an honor to talk to John Reese and Craig Duswalt. They formerly used to work with Guns N' Roses. You know John from his career of putting on festivals like Mayhem Fest and Warped Tour with Kevin Lyman, and their conferences this week, breaking into the music industry. We'll talk about that a little more in depth in a few minutes, but all these cool things going on. Just a reminder, we do features, sometimes big Q&A interviews, but also special features. Morgan Y. Evans is one of my favorite people in the world and also one of my favorite collaborators for Ghost Cult, and Morgan has a great protest music special feature you can check out on the site. Also, we have a podcast. This show's going to be a podcast everywhere you check out podcasts on the web. Enjoy this and many more exclusive and other types of content on our podcast. And because I don't have enough to do, as I like to say every week, please check me out on the Glacially Musical Podcast, Beer, Metal, and Swearing. I think we got 107, 108 subs now. We have just kicked off a brand new series on the band Heart. We just finished a new series on 90s Metallica, which is, Black Album at one end, S&M at the other, and everything in between. But Heart, we're going to do the first 4 albums of Heart. Don Delamont from Talking the Talk with Don is back with us this week. So the three of us are just like the three knucklehead stooges, kind of vibing and also kind of dogging each other a little bit about the Heart album, Dreamboat Annie, the debut. Lots of fun stuff to uncover there. We unboxed the vinyl. Nick has almost an original press of Dreamboat Annie, which if you're a big vinyl nerd like we are, it's pretty valuable. Good stuff. Okay. Also, it's time for the news rundown. As you know, every week when we start the news rundown, we focus on metal festivals. So let's do this, Brutus. How it feels entering a metal festival, how it ends. It is festival season. We are on the cusp of a ton of music festivals. We just had a bunch of big ones in Europe, but now the American metal festivals are really about to go underway. So coming up soon is Milwaukee Metal Fest. Here, I'll embiggen this guy here for a minute. And see where we are. The Milwaukee Metal Fest is just a few weeks away. Ghost Cult is honored to be covering it for the third year in a row since it came back. Down, Black Label Society, and Gawar headlining with Chimera, Devin Townsend, who just announced he's taking a big hiatus from touring when this tour is over. Arch Enemy, Dillinger Escape Plan, Enslaved. We'll talk about them in a minute. Exodus, more to come about them in a minute. 3 Inches of Blood, Scour, and many more. Really great lineup for Milwaukee Metal Fest. And since we're talking about Milwaukee Metal Fest, basically bought and revived by Jamie Josta. Jamie Josta is now running Summer Slaughter. There was a lot of controversy last year about Summer Slaughter Tour. I did a video on it. It was really one of our first live streams independently. I haven't been doing too many. I really want to get back to it, but it's been hard. I got to be honest with you. Hatebreed, Bleeding Through, Fugitive, and Malevolence, backed up by Gridiron, Escuela Grind, Snuffed on Sight, and Insight. Not quite the death metal Summer Slaughter we all remember, but, you know, maybe a pretty cool lineup, and maybe this is the beginning of something else big with Jamie, you know? So I'm kind of excited about this, and, you know, my hope is always that you know, these festivals come back and they do succeed, and that's my hope, you know. That's my hope. So continuing on, thanks to Jamie Josta for continuing to like really hold music up and hold metal up a lot, even though this is mostly a metalcore and hardcore fest now. But you know, Malevolence is true death metal. Escuela Grind's kind of grindcore-y, hardcore. Snuffed on Sight and Inside are pretty metal, not too bad. Reminder, speaking of hardcore in New England, the Metal and Hardcore Festival is coming back again this year. Another festival back from the grave for the last few years. And Lorna Shore and Cannibal Corpse and Kubla Khan are the headliner. Top 3 bands. And again, I love this photo from my phone from about 10 years ago, 2 weeks back. Not too bad. Punk in the Park this weekend kicks off their 2025 slate with Punk in the Park San Francisco. I will not be going because I've seen all these bands, and fuck Screeching Weasel. I'll say it again. I'll say it every time. But Pennywise, Lagwagon, Comeback Kid, Good Riddance, Dead to Me, Manic Hispanic, Knockdown, The Side Eyes, lots of killer bands. If you're here in San Francisco, go down to the Cow Palace. I still have never been, but it looks pretty cool. I do want to go. And once again, we'll be covering Punk in the Park in Denver, perhaps Punk in the Park Worcester. I'm not sure if we're going to cover more of these, but we're definitely going to do Denver and maybe a few others. So stay tuned for some more coverage of punk rock. Also, Unhinged Fest, which we've been talking about the last few weeks, has announced a tattoo artist lineup to go along with Knocked Loose, Lamb of God, Dillinger, Escape Plan, In This Moment, The Garden, Health, Body Count, Power Trip, Tsunami, Converge, Terror, Gate Creeper, Sengusa Bog, Jesus Peace, Chemist, and more. That's another one in Denver. I believe we'll be covering that too. Also, Sonic Temple released their running times. This is the first of Metallica's festival appearances in 2025. And it's got Korn, Metallica twice, Linkin Park, Motionless in White, Mastodon. We'll see who plays guitar at Mastodon at that show. And, you know, Ice Nine Kills, Acid Bath, Killswitch Engage, Cannibal Corpse, Grandson, Whitechapel, Under Oath, Power Trip, Ministry. Very exciting stuff for the Danny Wimmer festivals. Also, speaking of Danny Wimmer festivals, we also have Welcome to Rockville a week later, Shinedown, Green Day, Linkin Park, Korn, Rob Zombie, Good Charlotte, Pierce the Veil, Bad Omens, and many more, Knocked Loose, and Insane Clown Posse, and a few others. So that's exciting too. Riot Fest, just a reminder, those tickets are on sale now. Get them now. Blink-182, Weezer, and Green Day. They did announce the side shows. They did announce a few other special things like full album playthroughs, which I think is very exciting. I believe Weezer is going to play all of the Blue album, which is very exciting. Alkaline Trio is going to play a full album playthrough. Beach Boys, Bad Religion, Dropkick Murphys, Hold Steady, Jawbreaker, Sparks, Dance Hall Crashers. I'm pretty excited about this. Weird Al, pretty exciting. I will probably not be going back to Riot Fest this year, but I might like to go next year. We'll see. Also, Ghost Cult will be covering Punk Rock Bowling. I'm pretty excited about this. The final tour ever from Coxsparrer, I believe, with Power Trip, The Addicts, Bouncing Souls, Cockney Rejects, Youth Brigade, Lambrini Girls. We just did a big review of their new album. Upchuck, Civic, Made of Age, Shitfire, Terror Attack, and more. Festivals, a lot of punk. Just a reminder, the Armstrong Metal Fest is coming up This summer in July in British Columbia, Havoc and Born of Osiris are the co-headliners. A lot of killer bands. We are proud to be a media partner of Armstrong Metal Fest and a bunch of others. And that's all the festival news this week. Shorter on the festivals, long on the tour dates. So in a second, I will do the tour dates, and there's many of them. Tonight, as you watch this on Friday, Metallica will begin another weekend of the M72 weekend tour. This is their, I believe, first weekend of double shows, 2 in Nashville tonight and Sunday. Tonight is Metallica, Limp Bizkit, and Ice Nine Kills. Sunday is Metallica, Pantera, Suicidal. And of course, here's their weekends coming up soon. They did 2 dates in Toronto. I stand mistaken. And Kirk Hammett is also doing his book tour concurrent with the Metallica tour. So Nashville followed by, so they did Syracuse and Toronto. Obviously, Las Vegas was canceled. Then they have Nashville, Columbus next week for Sonic Temple. Virginia is in there somewhere. Philly, Landover, Maryland, Tampa, Charlotte, Santa Clara, California here in June, right near me. Atlanta, Georgia, Denver, and Houston. Definitely catch them. I don't think we're going to get much more Metallica than this in the future. So definitely go see them. They're also doing South America. They're also doing Australia, New Zealand. They're also doing Abu Dhabi and Bahrain. But like, this is the most touring they will do, and much less probably in the future. Acid Bath came back this week. We have some exclusive photos and coverage at our site, and they just played their second show ever. Last weekend was with I Hate God. This weekend with Exhorter. Pretty damn unbelievable by Acid Bath. And definitely check out our site for upcoming new and more coverage for the Acid Bath reunion, which ended up being exclusives. And then now it's kind of feels like a full tour. So good for them. Also, just a reminder, once again, the Breaking Into the Music Industry conference kicked off today, and it's all weekend in Indio, California. It's already started, but be on the lookout for more news about next year's conference. Perhaps next year I will go and audit the conference and review it at Ghost Call. I'm very interested in this. I wouldn't even mind participating in Breaking Into the Music Industry as a social media expert and a longtime supporter of bands. Ghost Skeletor tour is on right now. They dropped their new album last week, Skeletor, and people are excited about the tour, but also bitching a lot about the wait times going in with the phone pouches. But I think it's kind of cool. What do you think about the new Ghost album? Is it great? Is it not great? Tell me what you think. If you hate them, that's cool. If you love them, let me know. Drop a comment. A reminder that the Evening with Testament tour has kicked off, performing songs from Practice What You Preach for its 30th anniversary. Jesus, I'm old. Unreal. Or is it 35th? I don't remember I don't know what day it is, but this weekend, Tulsa, Little Rock, and Wichita will be hopefully covering this tour later in the tour. I'm pretty excited about it. This is a big ass tour. Harm's Way, sponsored by Closed Casket Activities, kicking off a huge tour with Full of Hell. Full of Hell has a new EP coming. They're just so prolific. That kicks off next week after next, so we'll continue to plug this. I'm pretty excited about this. Casket Robbery's got a mini tour coming up in a couple of weeks. Wisconsin, Wyoming, Denver, which I believe we'll be covering, and Lincoln, Nebraska. Pretty exciting. We love those guys. You've seen me wear my Casket Robbery shirt many times here on the show. Also taking over Europe, Infernal Bloodshed over Europe. We just saw them here in the States. Decapitated, phenomenal performance of all of Nihility. I think they're going to do the hits and some more recent stuff now on this new tour. Decapitated, Cryptopsy, Warbringer, and Carnation. Pretty fucking killer. That is starting already this weekend. Very cool. The Sword has announced, since they've been coming back and doing some exclusive shows, they will be doing a 15th anniversary tour for their classic Warp Riders, the stoner rock, psychedelic rock masterpiece, kicking off in Phoenix in August. We will probably be covering that tour. They're coming to my town in San Francisco. Got to look at dates. Also, Exodus on tour right now with Havoc and Misfire. I just saw them last weekend play all of Bonded by Blood. Dukes is back. Holy shit. They were just completely on fire. That particular show, which we gave away tickets to, congrats again to the winner. who was watching here on the show one week and then, entered the contest. That's how it's supposed to work. We promote the contest we're doing, and then somebody sees it somewhere and follows it, not just our website, which I'm appreciative of everybody visiting our website, but, very cool for Exodus to be on this tour right now. Also, Ancients will do their first North American tour in almost a decade. They put out a killer record last year, kind of Canada's answer to Baroness or Mastodon. Great progressive metal band. Crypta, now down to a 3-piece, has got announced a new tour. Pretty stoked for that. They should be announcing their new guitarist soon. This is, I'm always trying to, help and support some of these bands. And, I want to shine a light on the underground bands the most because I feel like they just don't get enough love. But, I feel like, we do a good job, a good mix of the more popular bands and the underground bands. I hope we're doing a good job. And I'm not always sure, tell me who you want to hear us cover. Tell me who you want us to talk to. If you can, I appreciate it. These fine fellows is Zao. I've been picked on for saying their name wrong. It's Zao. They announced a new headline tour. I'm very excited about them. We've supported them for years, but I just want people to know that these bands are here and out there, and not just Metallica, not just Ghost, not just Testament, but all these other bands too. Here's our homies in Creeping Death. They just announced a new co-headline tour with Cruelty with a K. Creeping Death is just one of the most consistent and killer crossover thrash bands around. Big fan of theirs, and a little death metal influence too. I love this shirt where they're all wearing like bands that I like to rep: Blood Incantation, Metallica, Life of Agony. Very cool. Slayer. Boonwell, led by former Oxbow leader Eugene Robinson, has announced a summer tour of the USA. Boonwell includes Lydia Lunch, Tim Dahl, and Kevin Shea. Murderous Again, Today is the Day, and Spiritual Position. So Boonwell, this is a very cool. We got an interview with the band. They kicked this off in Atlanta and go all the way through the whole country, up the East Coast to Midwest, and then down to Little Rock, Arkansas, finally in July, late June to mid-July. So pretty cool. Boonwell. I don't know. Enslaved's got a brief tour in North America. We talked about them playing in Milwaukee Metal Fest. They're going to play a few other dates, including Montreal and New York. Definitely go see them. They are incredible. Death Angel announced a headline tour. I think that's in the next slide. But, of course, they announced their annual Christmas show, the Death Angel Christmas. I may have to take this Yoda hat off. It's getting kind of stuffy. But Death Angel's annual Christmas show, December 18th on a Thursday. They will play all of Act 3 in its entirety at the Fillmore once again. I was there the last couple of years. Incredible night. And I just saw Death Angel, and they were phenomenal also. And they dropped a new song today. We'll talk about that a little bit more. Lights is an artist I actually met in person. She's kind of like a synth poppy artist, and she has a new tour she just announced that's coming up next week. This is a little interesting. Speaking of Exodus, Zetro, who has been very vocal about his dismissal from the band. Okay, I'm going to take this off. Hold on a second. I'm going to take this mask off. This Yoda hat. Ugh. Okay. All right, I'm back now. No Yoda hat. Pretty interesting note here. Zetro from here. Hey, it's me. So Zetro is going to play Zetro's from Exodus's Tempo of the Damned. Kind of, he's entitled to. Listen, he made a lot of great music with Exodus. He came in after the original singer Paul Bailoff. He did Toxic Waltz. That's Zetro. And he was with them through the breakup and then the comeback. And then he left the band during, like, they made Tempo of the Damned, and then he quit before a tour, whatever, they forgave him and patched it up with him for 10 more years. And now he's going to tour behind Tempo of the Damned. And I believe his son's band, Hatred, who will be backing him, and he's going to do some Hatred songs. I believe that's going to be on tour with him, I think. And I mean, like, I'd be interested in seeing it, but I just think it's a little funny. But it's his music, and he's entitled to make it. There's no question. All right. And he's probably going to do some Testament. He's going to do the greatest hits of Zetro. Here's a band I really love, 20 Watt Tombstone. Shout out to my friend Tom Jordan. 20 Watt Tombstone's got some tour dates. I haven't really come out west in a long time. I'd love to see them someday again. Maul has announced a bunch of tour dates. Very cool, great death metal band from North Dakota. Thrash of the Titans Europe is kicking off this summer with Testament and Obituary. Very cool. Gwar has a bunch of tour dates coming up to continue to celebrate 40 years of Gwar. And a reminder, wherever you go to see Testament or Gwar, at those shows, you can pick up Concept Cafe's new Testament and Gwar coffees. I have the Testament coffee. It's delicious. I'm waiting to get a bag of the ground Gwar coffee. And I believe we're going to interview the founder of Concept Cafes very soon. I'm super pumped. Just a reminder, John Bonham's Led Zeppelin Experience has kicked off a new tour. I'm hoping to cover that tour eventually. I'd love to interview Jason Bonham. Sorry, did I say John Bonham? Jason Bonham. Oh, my God. I'd love to interview Jason Bonham someday. We'll see if it happens. Also, here's the Death Angel tour dates over the rest of the world. They got a new song we'll talk about. I'm very excited about this. And there's the Christmas flyer again. So yeah, late night tonight. Left to Die again. Reminder about these tour dates. This is the band of former Death associated artists or Death to All artists. Judas Priest, Alice Cooper. Tickets with Corrosion Conformity are on sale right now. A lot of big stuff going on in the Cooper camp. Orange Goblin. Final shows ever. We know about this. This is on sale now. AC/DC's wrapping up their headline tour in the next week. Really hope they announce a West Coast tour. I really have never seen them, which is a shame. I wanted to see Malcolm. Reminder, Wednesday 13 continues to tour with a tremendous lineup. We reviewed that show. Keith Morris' 70th birthday party in LA this summer. Very cool. Machine Head continues their tour. Their new album, Unatoned, is out now. I got mine in the mail. I haven't really checked it out yet because I've had just a crazy week. Again, my sleeping is all over the place. But super pumped for Machine Head, In Flames, Lacuna Coil, and Unearth. A reminder, Chuck Reagan has kicked off his European tour with support from our recent interviewee, Nate Bergman. Again, I'm still chasing down a Chuck Reagan interview eventually. Damn. So tough. Wet Leg has a big tour kicking off soon. Super stoked for the indie rock artist. And a reminder, again, the exhibition continues, I believe, into the fall. The Uptown Rumble presents the heavy music in the Bronx at the Bronx Museum of the Arts in the South Bronx, including a bunch of bands I played with, including a bunch of legendary artists like Ace Frehley and Aerosmith that have roots to New York City and the Bronx. It's very cool. And then 2 cancellations, and there's going to be a lot of this. I have to really preface this by saying I have been predicting this, not happily, but I've been predicting that we're going to get a wave of European bands not able to come to America and a wave of American bands not able to go to Europe or Canada. And this is because of the tariffs, and this is because of the rise in fees and work visa costs. So Hideous Divinity, who doesn't tour the US a lot, they are a killer technical death metal band from Italy. I've interviewed them before in person when they were here. They have canceled their entire summer tour. This also screws, it's unintentional, but also the other bands that were coming over or participating in the tour cannot now partake in a tour. They have to book something else or do nothing and lose the money. Shirts are made, merch is printed, and there's nothing happening. So if you like Hideous Divinity, go buy something from them because they need your support. But in the meantime, I think it's going to be many years till this is fixed, or maybe never. I don't know. And also, Propagandhi, who's got a brand new album out today, the legendary hardcore adjacent band, has canceled any of their American shows for 2025. They will not tour America in 2025 due to unforeseen events. But we know that's what this is: tariffs and fees. Just bullshit. Their new album's out today. It's pretty badass. All right. It's just a funny Lego Star Wars thing. And now on to the rest of the news. We are flying through. Just a reminder, again, if you want to tip us, here's the tip menu, what we like. But you can tip us any amount at any of our things. We'll list it in the description. And again, just a shout out to our affiliate partners, Lambgoat and StreamYard. Thank you, Lambgoat, for being a media partner with us. When you see ads at ghostcultman.com, that is with Lambgoat. When you see this video, it's because of StreamYard. I'm able to do all these fun things. It's like the ticker and the picture-in-picture and all the things. So, and the intro and outro video. So if you want to get down, if you need some advertising, get down with Lambgoat at lambgoatmedia.com. If you want to get down with StreamYard, there's a link in our description where you can get $10 off your subscription, and we get $10 off our next bill. So we like that. And just a reminder, we're on all the things, Twitch and Discord and Reddit and Blue Sky and all the things. Everybody's sick of social media, including me. Okay. Oh, now it's time for a breakdown. No, it's time for the news rundown. Holy shit, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. On one hand, I like talking about this, and on the other hand, I don't like talking about this. But here is, first and foremost, there's already a Metal Hall of Fame, and I know that people are mad at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because it's not rock and roll if it has rap and other things. But the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was founded by Jan Wehner of Rolling Stone. He doesn't control it anymore. It has always been a multitude of musical genres. It has always honored country and blues and rap from the very beginning. Whether that's a misnomer, maybe it should be the American Music Hall of Fame, which does honor some other artists. So let's run down the winners. First and foremost, Soundgarden. I was really vocal about this the last few years. Soundgarden needed to be in. I don't understand how Iron Maiden is not in. I don't understand how Alice in Chains is not in, but Soundgarden is finally in. Bad Company, I'll be honest with you, good band. I don't think they're a legendary great band. I know people love Paul Rodgers and Simon Kirke of Bad Company and Mick Ralphs and stuff like that, but I just don't. I know they were kind of a super group of guys at the time, but I just don't think they are Hall of Fame worthy, but they're in. So whatever I think doesn't matter, but they're in. Chubby Checker got in. Honestly, I love Chubby Checker. I love the twist. But honestly, other than a few hit singles and a dance craze, I don't know that he should be in. But, Chubby Checker was famous for saying, "I want my flowers while I'm alive" in a 2001 full-page ad in Billboard magazine. But he's getting in on his first nomination. Good for him. Joe Cocker, the legendary singer. People know his Beatles cover. With a little help from my friends, he was at Woodstock, but he's Up Where We Belong, You Are So Beautiful, covered by millions of artists. Honestly, Joe Cocker, one of the best voices in rock history, surely belongs in. Cyndi Lauper, I honestly have a soft spot for because she's from New York City. I was not sure she was going to get in, but she got in, which is, pretty amazing. She really was one of the leading album sellers of the 80s, and she has a ton of hit songs, so she's got the credibility. Outkast, unsurprisingly, critics' darlings, great rap group. I'm not a huge fan, but my closest friends are, and they will die on that hill that they love Outkast so much, and they probably most definitely deserve to get in. And considering the Hall has been putting in one rap act every year the last bunch of years, Tribe Called Quest, Missy Elliott and Eminem, LL Cool J. So Outkast kind of, no other rap group has actually won Album of the Year from the Grammys, except Outkast, which is wild. Since have been eligible since 2019, did get their first nomination this year. Soundgarden, we talked about. Both the band and Chris Cornell's wife, second wife, commented on getting in. And, they are certainly the most metal, beside Alice in Chains, of all the grunge bands. White Stripes got in. People were dogging them last year that they should not be in, and Meg is not a good enough drummer to be in, and maybe the band is a critic's darling and overrated, but I thought they were great. They definitely reinvigorated just raw, garagey rock and roll. They helped energize stoner rock and make it, put it on a platform that I don't think a lot of other people saw. Of course, the garbage is getting picked up outside my window now. I don't agree with these other categories. Under musical influence, Salt and Pepper and Warren Zevon get in. They should be in anyway. There's a musical excellence award. Tom Bell is a Jamaican-born producer and songwriter who was one of the pioneers of the Philly soul sound of the 70s. So Delphonics, Dionne Warwick, Spinners, was put in the Songwriters Hall of Fame in 2006, but only now in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame 19 years later. Nicky Hopkins, the infamous and great English keyboard and piano player, played on Revolution by the Beatles, Sympathy for the Devil, Quicksilver Messenger Service, Jerry Garcia's band, Jeff Beck Group. Absolutely believe he should be in. Carol Kay, maybe the greatest bassist ever. She played on like thousands of records in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Played guitar on La Bamba, Sonny and Cher. Unbelievable. Had really never played bass actually until that Sonny and Cher session, and then became one of the most incredible bassist ever, and has played on Beach Boys, Nancy Sinatra, and Joe Cocker records too. And then they're still giving an award out for Ahmet Erdogan, who was the founder of Atlantic Records. He's kind of a perv and a sex creep, among other things. But they always give an industry award in his name. They should change the name of the award. But Lenny Waronker, who was the longtime Warner Brothers president for the 80s and 90s, Talking Heads, ZZ Top, Madonna, and then he went on to work at DreamWorks. So pretty legendary cast of people. The ceremony will take place on November 8th at the Peacock Theater in Los Angeles and stream live on Disney Plus and ABC with a special to follow. That is your Hall of Fame coverage. That's the equivalent of a small version of the Hall of Fame live stream I would have done had I done one, but that's cool. All right, moving on. Also, Green Day got their star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame today. I know Green Day is having a crazy couple of weeks between Coachella and Sharon Osbourne coming out against them and a bunch of other things, but Green Day continues to ride a wave of success. They certainly deserve a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, which their star is right outside of Amoeba's new LA shop, which I visited last year. Very, very cool. Good for Green Day. Also, Ozzy, a lot of stuff coming out about Ozzy now and about this final Black Sabbath show. We are about 2 months away from the final Black Sabbath farewell show, Black Sabbath and Ozzy. I have said repeatedly, I do not want to see Ozzy try to sing from a chair. He claims he's working out. I've heard differing accounts of like how sick he is. Maynard James Keenan said this week that it would take a miracle for him to get up there and perform anything. Sammy Hagar says, originally I asked to do No More Tears, and Tom Morello, who's the musical director for the entire show, asked him to do Flying High again, and then if Ozzy can't go, Sammy will sing it. So we'll see. It's kind of like wait and see what Ozzy will do. Anything, something, a few things. He's only going to sing about 5 songs, supposedly. Probably 3 with Black Sabbath and 2 solo. And then everybody else is going to do a little mini set, Metallica, Anthrax, Mastodon, whoever, Slayer, and then they're going to play an Ozzy cover or a Black Sabbath cover. System of a Down's having an interesting week. They kicked off their South American tour, playing some rarities and lesser heard songs along with the hits. They always play over an hour and a half, which is phenomenal for a bunch of guys that didn't like each other. They're playing arenas and stadiums all over the world. But Toxicity, their multi-billion streaming album, was taken off of streaming platforms this last week and then popped back up. But just in the last few days, if you went on and you were looking for Toxicity, it wasn't there. This is a screen grab of Spotify. And then it was back. So I don't know. These things happen all the time. There's licensing deals. But it's pretty interesting that an album with 2 billion stream songs gets taken down because of some licensing shit. Kind of weird. Vimic, we found this out on Friday. Vimic was the final band from Joey Jordison, formerly of Slipknot. They did a Kickstarter to release their final album on vinyl, finally, and put it out with a proper release. We've interviewed Kalen Chase, who was the singer, and he wasn't really a metal singer, and he became a pretty great singer. Where he already was a great singer, and he became a great metal singer. He felt like, I'm down, I'll try this. And they more than made their goal already. You have about 25 more days to 24 more days to get in on this Vimic Kickstarter and get this vinyl. They claim it will probably not be pressed more than once. I'm pretty excited about that. Slayer, we talked about the anniversary of Jeff's passing. In honor of Jeff's passing, today is the official re-release, the 4th edition of our pal DX Ferris's Slayer book, 66 2/3, or how Slayer, what is the full title? It's like how Slayer kicked fucking ass and ruled the world. It's on our thing. There's also just a reminder that DX has the Talkin' Slayer podcast, which is an anecdotal history of Slayer, deep dives, expanded versions of the book chapters. There's also an audio book you can listen to. I'm hoping to interview DX either for Ghost Cult and or for the Glacially Musical podcast at some point. All the Glacially Musical guys are huge Slayer fans, as am I. And again, I never thought they would come back. DX is the architect and the archivist of Slayer history, in my opinion. And he'll downplay all of that and say, I just compiled stuff from other people. But he put it together, man. And I love his podcast and I like his demeanor. Just like Slayer, we show up and we just do what we do. Classy and great. Dead Guy did not expect this year. Dead Guy's got a new album coming out in June, dropped a new single and video. really surprising. This is a band like Dillinger Escape Plan I saw in New Jersey in the 90s and a little bit later, and then they were gone, poof, and now they're back. Dead Guy documentary the last couple of years, a couple of Dead Guy singles, a lot of album playthroughs and special appearances at festivals. Super great band. Also, the Halo Effect, led by Mikal from Dark Tranquillity and former members of Iced Earth, put out a Japan-only single on streaming today. Was on their last album that came out, so this is kind of exciting. You see me a lot of times on social media checking into the Roxy to see music documentaries. This is a local theater to me in the Mission District in San Francisco. I'm really excited about it. And they always do an annual fundraiser. And this year they're trying to do their building is a landmark, so they can't get moved out or shut down, but they want to buy the building they own. And then they will have, perpetual rights to the building. So there's a campaign on to do that. I might link that in the description also. I'm a huge fan of theirs. I love to be a booster and a supporter of them. And I frequently go there. They got beer. They got really good, healthy-ish, non-GMO popcorn with the nutritional yeast on it that I like, with no butter or salt, just to kind of, yeast has kind of the consistency of cheese. It's kind of good for your digestion and stuff like that. I love the Roxy. They show awesome things. The last thing I saw there was the Brian Eno documentary. I also saw an amazing Thelonious Monk documentary last year, among many other things. So more Hail Roxy and more to come from there. Also, The Haunted, man, I've been talking about this for about 6 months. The Haunted is back, dropped a banger single, their second, a banger single and video, and their new album is coming out. Look at this beautiful artwork. I got to get me this on vinyl for sure. I love The Haunted. Spineshank has recorded their first new single in I don't know how many years, 15, maybe 20 years. That's coming out soon. Very exciting news from Spineshank. I do believe they will probably have a whole new album at some point. So that's exciting. We got it's kind of what year is it again? What year is it again? I don't know, man. Just wild. Just wild. Anywho, also, again, we're always trying to rep and support these underground bands, man. So, obviously, like, as much as we talk about Spineshank and we talk about Slayer and we talk about all these other bands, like, just remind yourself that there are other bands out there. This is pretty interesting. I've tried to stay away from talking about John Schaefer of Iced Earth. He did that interview recently where he was like, now I'm really saved and, everything is in Jesus' hands and this is all meant to be a divine providence that I was saved and this, that, and the other thing. And I didn't really apologize for anything he did do except feeling bad for getting caught. But it's funny, his brother-in-law there, Matt Barlow, and Freddie Vidales, formerly of Iced Earth, have a band called Ashes of Eres, and they are going to do a special Iced Earth set at a festival in South America. So wonder if this is going to become a full tour and what John thinks about his brother-in-law, who is technically Matt, I believe, was in the works to be back in Iced Earth as the singer. Maybe this is with John's permission, maybe not. I don't know, but very interesting. Fucking traitors. Anyway, Turnstile dropped 2 new singles and a video, including one single with Hayley Williams of Paramore. Pretty cool new Turnstile coming soon. The band that kind of helped transform modern punk rock. This is really exciting. I'm going to blow this up for a second. Something Better Change is a new documentary about Joe Keithley from DOA. We interviewed Joey A of DOA last year for the reissue of the Badge single a year and a half ago, which I was really pumped about. So I'm excited about this. Talk minus action equals nothing or zero, as Paul Bailoff also used to say, which I'm pretty sure he got from DOA. So very cool. This kind of looks like New York City a little bit. I'm not sure. But if this comes to your independent local movie theaters like the Roxy, you definitely want to see this. King Parrot dropped a new single, their upcoming new album. A Person's Guide to King Parrot is coming soon. I do have a King Parrot interview coming up soon. Gotta get the times right for Australia and America, but love me some King Parrot coming out soon on Housecore Records, the label owned by Philip Anselmo. This was another tough one, man. So Ken Badine has finally come public about his split from Aborted. He was summarily dismissed from Aborted. He says he left to keep the distractions of his personal life off of the band, but the band insists he was fired. So Ken claims that he had a consensual conversation with a legal age person in her state, already giving me the willies. And he's got an open marriage and his wife knows everything about it, but he felt like it was going to distract from the band, so he decided to quit the band. He has been fired from the band. I like Ken a great deal. Ken's an incredible drummer. Just don't talk to anybody that's not your kid or wife, or whatever you do, keep it under wraps. Like if you got a private sexual life that's, outside of the norm of social mores to some people, it's not about cancel culture. It's about accountability culture, everybody. And I have full respect for this guy, except for if she's not legal in some other states, then that's not good. I don't know how young this person is, but keep your shit under wraps. Keep it private. Don't do creepy shit. Don't talk to people who are not your kids on text or messenger or whatever. Please. But anyway. This is another one that kind of blew me away. I was really, really surprised by this. I just found this news out. Hold on 1 second. I just want to make sure I have the name correct because I fuck up these names every week. And I'm trying not to. Fuck me. Okay. Electric Callboys drummer. This is David Carl Friedrich, who has quit the band after 13 years. Just decided to go in a different direction, so he says. And they tour constantly. So David Carl, best of luck. Electric Callboy, best of luck. I know people love them. I think they're funny and fun, but not serious, but not one of my favorite bands I sit around listening to. Also, Witchcraft has a brand new single and a new album coming up, probably one of my most anticipated records of the year for the Stoner Doom Legends. Don't know when they will ever tour America again, maybe never, but I'm very excited for a new Witchcraft record. Maybe the only thing that could get me more excited than Witchcraft would be Sleep. This is Peter Murphy. I urge you, the new Peter Murphy record is coming out next week, and you need to hear this thing. I got to hear it already. It's phenomenal. Peter's not doing too many interviews right now. I asked, but wow. This record is phenomenal. It's got collabs with Trent from Nine Inch Nails, and it's so good. It's so good. I don't really love the Boy George song, but a lot of collabs. Justin from Tool is on it. What a great record. Do check it out. I think I might even review it if no one else is going to do it. Nailed to Obscurity is dropping a new record and dropped a new single. Very cool death metal band. This is pretty cool. Blow this up. The documentary Metal and Horror, the history of metal and horror, has been showing on streaming services and VOD. There's a deluxe expanded edition coming out. I think that I would like to interview the director and talk to him. It's got a lot of appearances from metal people and Rob Zombie and Scott Ian and Kerry King and Behemoth and a bunch of metalers, and it's just a really deep dive and lovely examination of rock and metal and horror. Corey Taylor, I think he did the forward. Fun Star Wars meme right here. We'll blow it back up. I prefer Yoda's best duel. I said his best duel. Very good, right? That means we're getting toward the end of the show, everybody. It's time for New Music Friday. And this is, again, we are in the thick of the year. We are into May. This is kind of unbelievable. Here are the records coming out for May. I'll just leave this up so you don't have to watch my face turn around. I'm going to pop open another seltzer, and then I'm going to have to piss, but whatever. We will do the band, the album, the label, and the genre. 1, 2, 3, 4, go. Abyssal Vacuum, self-titled on Signal Rex Records for some black metal. Acceptance, the great band, Crucifixion of Orchids, Road to Masochist album label. Aux, good band we've covered before, On Through the Sky Maze, Black Throne Productions for some psychedelic rock. Amalekim, Shir Hashirim, on avant-garde music for some more black metal, more black metal. This band I'm excited about. Black Honey Cult, self-titled album on Heavy Psych Sounds for some psychedelic rock and post-punk. Bleed, self-titled on $20 spin, $20 spin for some Deftones-ish alt metal and post-hardcore. Burndy, self-titled, self-release for some industrial noise and post-punk. Crematory, the great gothic rock band. Destination is their new album on RPM Roar label. Crystal Teardrop is Forming is the title of that album on Popclaw / Rise Above Records for some psych rock. A Flock Named Murder, Incendiary Sanctum on Hyperthral Records for some Atmo black metal. Gypsy Pistoleros, The Church of the Pistoleros on Earache, glam rock and punk rock. Hangfire, Burn on Rottweiler Records for some heavy metal. Hate, the great black metal band Bellum Regis on Metal Blade. Kickin' Valentina, raw tracks, B-sides, and bootlegs on Mighty Music, some rock music. Knives, we've got a review of that coming up on the site soon. Glitter on Marshall Records for some post-punk and hardcore. Lux Interna, new wilderness gospel, self-released for some dark folk. Mace Trick, Espresso della Vita Lunare on Frontiers SRL for some progressive metal. Misfire, currently on tour with Exodus and Havoc, product of the environment, Monarch Heavy for some crossover thrash. We've got an interview coming up with them soon. Name Bearer Industries of the Fading Sun, self-released Atmo black metal. Nightfall, Children of Eve on Season of Mist for some melodic black metal. Palantir, not the spy software, but Palantir, the band, who probably likes Lord of the Rings. The Ascent and the Hunger on Jawbreaker Records for some speed metal. Power Surge, Shadows Warning on FHM Records, hard melodic metal. Press Club, to all the ones that I love, self-release for some Aussie punk rock. Propaganda, mentioned them before, At Peace on Epitaph Records for some progressive thrash, but I always feel like they're hardcore crossover adjacent. Skyjoggers, the 12021 Post-Electric Apocalypse on Supernatural Cat Records. That's a Finnish space rock, psych rock band that is on the label of Ufo Mammoth, the great Italian stoner rock band. Sol Fatale, Asservice par le Poids on Signal Rex Records. I hope I said that okay in French because my French is poor. Avant-garde black metal. Tongue Cutter Minnow on Learning Curve Records, great label for some thrash post-grunge. Tumble, band we premiered their last single and video, Lost in Light, on Ecodelic Records in the US and Stickman Records in the EU for some psych rock and proto-metal. Of course, Stickman Records in the EU is the record label of Nick DeSalvo of Elder. Under Ruins, Age of the Void on FHM Records. Your Spirit Dies, My Gnawing Pains Will Never Rest on Monarch Heavy for some metalcore. And this weekend, there's a release tomorrow, Growing Horns, The Essence of Suffering for some sludge metal from Belgium and self-released. And then everything else is next week. So that is the New Music Friday rundown. Some really great stuff this weekend, Paradise Slaves and a bunch of other stuff also. So check that out. And now it's time for the mailbag. And this week's mailbag is pretty cool. Tomorrow is also free. Saturday is Free Comics Book Day. So tomorrow is a recording and putting this out now. And so when I went to go see Exodus last week, they were selling some comic books at the merch table. And y'all know I love some comic books. When I went to go see Danzig, I bought some Danzig comics. You know, no more comments about Danzig's stupid shirts, but he should know better. But anyway, and I got these cool comic book autobiographies. So I already have this Exodus one, and I might have checked it a few years ago. It's from 2021, from Incendium, which is now a new name that I think I talked about not too long ago. This is actually autographed by the entire band, but Zetro and not Dukes. It would have been fun if it was Zetro and Dukes. I might even ask Dukes to sign it, but it's not about him. I don't think there's much in it about him, and I don't have my extra camera angle here. So this is still advertising the Derek Riggs Run for Cover book that I never got, but I wanted to get. I do love this thing, and this is pretty great. Exodus, written by Michael Aushinker, illustrated by Matt Engston, lettered by John Hageman, and edited by Chimp9. And it is a history of Exodus, at least, you know, from the very beginning. And a little bit discussion of the Slay team and Paul Bailoff. And obviously Zetro is pictured here on the cover. And this is autographed. So this is pretty fucking sweet. I was pretty glad to get this at the merch table. I mean, you know, I have a million black shirts. I have a million trucker hats. They didn't really have any vinyl I really wanted. And then I want, you know, as much as I love Death Angel and I want to support them always, this King Diamond book actually came off the merch table of Nukem, and I believe one of the members of Nukem is the artist in this King Diamond documentary here. So it's written by Spike Stephagan and Matt Engston, and illustrated by Matt Engston and Vic Moya. So I think Vic did the metal variant cover and from Nukem. And Nukem's a killer band. They opened that Exodus Death Angel show. And yeah, this is amazing. I love King Diamond. And there's a fun little thing here. If you're a big comics book nerd, you know, right up here at the top here, there's this little, originally the comic books code, which was a 1950s style of a censorship sticker. And here it says rejected by the comics code, which is fucking amazing. You almost couldn't get a comic book made back in the 50s and 60s without the comic book seal of approval, the comics code. So this is really fun. Just an extra little thing from my collection that I'm really stoked on. And, you know, that's the end of our show, as always. Free comic book day on Saturday. Please support your local comic shops. They're going out of business. It's going to be harder and harder to get these, you know, physical media. If you still read comic books, you don't have to read Marvel or DC. There's a million brands now. Buy some zines, support small creators, and put some money in their pockets. Watch Star Wars on Sunday. Watch any Star Wars on Sunday or Saturday, and live in your nerddom like me with my This Is the Way shirt and everything, and my Yoda hat and whatever else. And, you know, as we say every week at this juncture of the show, it's a tough time in the world, and it really, truly is. Please, if you're having some mental health problems, my DMs are open. Ghost Coast DMs are always open. Myself or my partner, Omar, are monitoring them. You can reach out to us if you're having a hard time. Seems like a lot of people are having a hard time these days. So please take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Stay as metal as humanly possible. And I'm going to dance a jig on the way out. As always, have a great weekend and be safe. Peace, yo.